comfortable seat. And with your comfortable seat, just take a moment to notice if you do have some stiff, sticky stuff going on in the hips today, and maybe adjust how you're sitting to make it a little bit more comfortable. And I do have a plan for a smaller block. I can't remember if you have the big blocks or the small blocks, but hopefully if you have a small block, that'll be a helpful thing for one of our back bending, heart opening exercises. So take a few moments in your seat to shift it and adjust it. And then as you come to a little stillness, you're welcome to close your eyes if that works for you. You're always welcome to keep them open. And let your breath start to get deeper, longer, more full. And as you let your breath get more full, notice an expansion with your breath, expanding into your belly and your ribs, moving that up into your chest. And as you take this, allowing the wave of breath to help you lift and open more through the ribs, the heart space. Start to support the heart with your shoulder blades gently engaging. Keep that lift of your heart and take another couple of deep breaths to sense, be present with whatever body sensations are there. And then bring your hands to connect at heart center. Gently pressing your palms together, lift your heart up high. On your exhale, bow toward your heart. As you softly open your eyes and release your hands down, begin to lift up and back through your shoulders, feeling that squeeze of shoulder blades. And then take your hands to your hips and start to push down, anchoring your hips into the ground. And from there, lift up even higher with your ribs. Walk your elbows or walk your hands back a little further onto the low back, hugging elbows back. And take another big inhale and lift up through the front ribs, lift up through the collarbones. As you do so, start to engage with the low belly and the ribs, supporting the back body in this little bit of a back bend. Take a full, big, deep inhale and exhale. And now inhale upright, walk your hands out to your knees. And take this in the other direction, rounding back through your spine, your chin tucks in toward your chest. And just add a couple of movements here through your shoulders, allowing your back body and your sides to get a little longer. Maybe feel some of that stretch further down into the lats, into the QLs, or the low back muscles. Then inhale, sit tall. And now hands come behind your back to clasp if that's comfortable. You can come back to hands at your hips if that's where you are today. It's totally fine. So now as you press palms together, lift your shoulders up and back, hug back with your elbows. Take a full, big, deep inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. Use your inhales to help you lift even more through the ribs and the collarbones. Your exhales to help you support your back body with your core. One more big inhale. Heart lifts. Exhale. Release your hands, and this time take hands in front to clasp. Pull forward with your arms, round back through the upper back. And then add those couple of movements once again. Little side to side sway. Some good expansion into the thoracic spine, your upper back. Then inhale, sit tall and switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. And move your sitting bones. And now walk your fingertips back as far back as is comfortable to be able to press down and find that lift through your ribs, lift through the collarbones. Neck and head stay in line with the rest of your spine as you hug shoulder blades together, also engage through the low back and the ribs to support the back body. Take another big inhale, push and expand more. And then rise all the way back upright, walk your hands forward. And once again, we'll go in the opposite direction, a little counter pose to our back bend. Rounding back, take a couple deep breaths. And from that anchor point of your hands, sway your shoulders side to side. This can be a big sway or a little sway. And now as you come back upright, take hands together to clasp, press palms forward, draw shoulder blades onto your back, and then lift arms. And again, we'll turn this into a little bit of a back bend. So as you press your palms and start a little squeeze of arms toward your ears, draw your shoulder blades onto your back. As you start to lift up through the ribs, up through the collarbones, notice where you're back bending from. Our back bends get to happen from our thoracic spine. So engage the core to support the low back. Press up with palms, lift up with the ribs and the collarbones. And then gently release your arms. And now we'll shift forward onto our hands and knees and take that counter pose of child's pose. It's a great way to get a sense for what's going on through the low back, through the hips, really any part of the body where there's some sensation. Let your head settle if it's comfortable. And even allow a little rocking side to side across the forehead. And now coming up onto your hands and knees, let's pause and set ourselves up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Find that strong rooting of palms and fingertips, and then rotation of elbow pits forward. Push, tuck toes, lift hips, take a downward facing dog pose. Take a big deep breath. As you keep that rotation of upper arm bones going and a push from your back muscles out through your hands, tilt sitting bones up. Think about trying to find that little bit of a back bend in your low back here. A little side to side sway of hips to get a little longer from hip to armpit. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Find lots of lift of sitting bones. Move your heart forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. Let yourself bow in. Now hands to hips, start to lift up with shoulders and elbows to rise all the way up to stand. And then find your mountain pose. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Hands come to your hips for this one. And as your hands come to your hips, find that activation of your feet. As you activate your feet and then root down, remember that softness through the knees to help you. Push down with your hands, lift up with your heart, start to hug elbows back behind you. And now, as you work your hands even further back, maybe even to the point of touching thumbs, if that's there for you. If not, that's okay. Feel around your waist, feel your low belly drawing in toward your thumbs. Start to lift your chest even higher, and as you do so, take an exhale and draw your flaring ribs toward each other. Now inhale and lift up through the ribs, up through the collarbones, and pull in with the low belly. Inhale one more time, lots of lift through the chest. Exhale, root through the feet. Rise all the way back up, release the arms down. Turn your palms forward. Eyes can close here if that's comfortable. Take a full big breath, checking in with whatever has shown up in your body. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, hinge from the hips and fold. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Planting fingertips, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Bring your hands up to your hips to rise, coming to this lifted lunge place. And as you rise up to your lifted lunge, that's centering action with your hips. Push down into your hips and lift from hip to armpit. And now hands behind your back to clasp. As you press palms together, hug elbows back, and then engage the core. Inhale, collarbones lift. Exhale, root down through your feet. And now release the hands, plant them, and step all the way back to a downward facing dog pose. Take a full breath. From the heart, push out through your hands. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Knees can always come down here. Strong through the core, even as you move your heart forward, collarbones forward. Find that rotation of upper arm bones. Exhale, bend elbows and lower. Inhale, curl up and open through your heart, as high as your body needs to go. And as you find that place, notice even more lift through the shoulders, a lengthening through the neck. Take an exhale and feel the low belly engage, the ribs engage. Inhale, curl up and open through the upper back. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. And now walking your way forward, taking that forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale, fold over your legs. And now plant fingertips. You're stepping left foot back into your lunge, rooting down into the floor. Lift your torso up, coming into your lifted lunge. As you find your lifted lunge, center with the hips. Draw in with the belly and the ribs, and then begin to curl open, lift up and open through the heart. Gratitude this time. Feeling that work of shoulder blades, the opening through the front of the chest. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, hands come down to the front of your mat. Inhale, step forward, coming into your forward fold. Now, if you have your small block, you're going to bring it with you. Hands to your hips. Lift up and back through shoulders and rise all the way up. Block, we know and love this one. Well, hopefully we know and love this one. Blocking between the thighs, right? So once upon a time, that Pez dispenser visual when the yoga center was still around, I think was funny, but also a helpful visual for us. So as you walk your legs in to give a little squeeze into the block, we're remembering that inner thigh rotation so that the block can move back, okay? And so as you lift and spread your toes, start to find that rotation to make the block move, right? So in, back, and broad with your inner thighs, block moving back toward the wall behind you. You're gonna keep that and do a little glute wrapping. So you'll see your knees maybe turn a little in and then come back to center as you wrap your glutes down and under, engage the low belly. You're still creating that push back through the block, root down through your toes, and then hands to your hips. As you bring your hands to your hips, you're lifting up and away, pushing down through the floor. keeping the inner thighs moving back, but also that counteraction of your glutes. Lift through the ribs, lift through your chest. Hands work even further back onto your low back. Pull in with the belly so maybe you can even feel that expansion into the low back. Take a full big inhale, ribs lift, collarbones lift, little bit of a back bend. Exhale, tone the belly, tone the ribs. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, ribs draw in, belly draws in, inner thighs rotate back, even as you wrap down and under with your glutes. Inhale, rise all the way back upright. Find your block, set it down. And then take a moment in mountain pose to notice how you feel. And turn your palms forward here if you would like. But take a big deep breath. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, soft through the knees to fold. Inhale, lengthen, hands up above the knees. Move the inner thighs back as if you were rotating and moving the block back. Exhale, fold over your legs. Plant hands and step all the way back to a hands and knees position. And then hips back to heels. Take that child's pose to help sense, notice what's showing up in the body. As you let your head come to rest, notice if there's any tension from the back bending that we have done. We've done pretty mild back bending at this point, but take a full big inhale and exhale in and out of your nose. And now, as we rise up to our seat, come all the way down to sitting bones, and we'll shift it to taking our variation of pigeon pose that we've been doing lately, just to get a little bit more into the hips, hopefully release a little bit more for you. Our 90-90 or our box sit is that pose that tends to be a little bit safer on the knee joint as well as the SI joint. So as you find your right thigh parallel to the right side of your mat, right shin parallel to the front of your mat, start to give your right foot some action. And then left leg straight out to the left side, shin parallel to the side of your mat. Both feet have some tone. And then as you sit up tall, just notice here if there's anything that feels sticky or difficult. I often feel it through the hip on the left side here as my right leg is forward. But you can identify whatever is showing up in your body. Turn your belly more toward your right leg. And then as you start to fold over your leg, you can work down toward elbows here if you would like, or whatever other prop would be helpful. Take a couple of deep breaths. Give yourself a sense of whatever intensity might be there, or maybe it doesn't feel too intense today. And just notice what's there today. And let your breath be a little bit longer and deeper, more full. And then gently bring yourself back upright. And we'll switch it over to the other side. Bring your left leg out in front. Shift over to the left side. Left shin is parallel to the front of your mat. Thigh parallel to the side of your mat. Right thigh straight out to the right side. Shin parallel to the side of your mat. And then give your feet some action. And then begin to lift up through your torso and rotate, turn so that your belly is more toward your left leg. And from that place, begin to work your way forward. Maybe working down toward elbows or elbows on a prop, your choice. Take some big deep breaths. And now gently bring yourself upright and bring your right leg around to the front. And we're gonna lay all the way down onto our backs. From your back, you're gonna pick your prop, whichever feels the best in your body to set underneath your hips. So find your back all the way on the ground, footprints to the floor, knees are bent to begin with. I'm gonna choose one of my big blocks. You can choose your bolster or anything that works in your body today to lift your hips, set your prop underneath your hips. And as you take a couple of deep breaths, you can sense for yourself if this feels pretty good to you. You can stay right here, or you're welcome to work your legs out straight. You're welcome to work arms overhead. Find the variation that helps you feel settled. Check in with any of the sensations that are present from back bending, from the little bit of hips that we've done. Take in the details of your pose. And now, as you're ready to, you're gonna lift your hips. Take your prop out from underneath and bring your hips all the way down to the ground. And then right knee in towards your chest, left leg extends out long. Take a full big breath as you create a little compression of your knee in toward your side. Next, inhale, switch sides. Exhale, give yourself a little compression. Inhale, switch sides. And exhale, compress. One more, inhaling and exhaling. Set both feet on the ground and start to work your way into a comfortable resting pose for yourself, whatever that might look like by your Shavasana. Bring awareness back to your breath. Bring a little gentle movement into your fingers, your toes, your wrists, ankles. And when you're ready to, you can bend your knees and roll over to your side. Slowly, gently press yourself back upright to your seat. With hands coming together at heart center, take another moment to let your breath be full and deep. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.